Hey, what up, everybody? You're watching the Kyle and Craig Show.
My name is Kyle.
My name is Craig. Today, we're talking the Men's National Championship and a whole lot more, so stick around to find out. Pip it up.
Hey, what up, guys? You're watching a special midweek edition of the Kyle and Craig Show. Because of last night's Men's National Championship, Duke versus Wisconsin, Duke won 68-63.
Craig called it.
Craig called it.
Craig
I owe
likes
him
to call games.
$5.
Craig likes to win bets. Craig did a good job.
And his Ohio State Buckeyes won the Men's National Football Championship.
I had a good year.
He
I
did.
didn't think of that.
He didn't think of that.
I'm a
About
huge
that.
Ohio
I thought
State
that
Buckeye
all
fan,
day today.
So they won the Men's National Football Championship, if you didn't watch that, in the first playoffs ever. And Duke won basketball. Those are my two teams. Shout out to Craig.
Yeah.
He's the bomb.
So the most valuable player of the Final Four
was Tyus Jones. He had 23 points, put up a real good game, and he looked like Captain Clutch out there. He's only a freshman. A lot of people are talking today about which players from the national championship team and the losing Wisconsin are MVP ready. And he was a lot of topic of discussion if you were watching SportsCenter or whatever it was, but a lot of people are saying that he's just not ready. He especially as a small guard in this league, he doesn't have what it takes yet. He has the skills and looks like he has the leadership and what it takes to be in the NBA, just not quite yet. They could, put him in there in a year or two, finish up some time, learn from Coach K, come in as a superstar with Coach K on your back. You could do like the Olympics or something. Do something good and learn what you got to do to be an NBA caliber player. But MVP of the Final Four regardless, and one hell of a player, that's for sure.
Yeah, they were talking about they mentioned the freshman from Kentucky, but then turns out that these Duke freshmen, they said that you could almost call it a Fab Four.
Yeah.
Because of the three main ones, and then the guy coming off the bench, the freshman.
Yeah.
And they were a lot more productive. They came out with a national championship, and Kentucky didn't.
Yeah, Kentucky. So, 40, 38-1 or whatever that ended up being. Yeah, it's pretty, but it doesn't mean anything. You might as well have been 1-38. The loss is a loss. You didn't win the championship, and that's all that matters. So even though they looked real good, and they had some scandal at the end there with Harrison or whatever his name is, with that slur against Comiskey, that was real bad. But yeah, shout out to Kentucky for a real good season, but that's all you get, and that's all it is. And we'll see if any of those guys end up in the NBA next year. I'm sure they will, and you can't shake off the season that easily.
Yeah.
But still, Duke came through with the national championship, and I see a lot more of these guys going up. You look at Jahlil Okafor. Hopefully he goes into the draft this year, and I see him being a starter in the NBA immediately. And a future superstar for sure. And on the other side of the bracket, you want to call it whatever, you got Frank Kaminsky from Wisconsin. He put up 21 points last night, and he had a really good game.
National Player of the Year.
Yeah, I can't, watching the game, you can't put any of that loss on him.
Yeah. I feel like Wisconsin was just moving the ball around too much. They were holding on to it, and that's not really their game.
Yeah.
And then coming down towards the end of the game, in the final stretch, they're more of a possession team. They're not really quick with the ball, so they're not really in the position to make comebacks. And so, Duke did what they had to do. Jones with those two big free throws at the end. Some controversial calls from the refs.
What'd you think of that? They said one was out of bounds, the other was a charging call. And
every game comes with calls.
Yeah.
So you could pick and choose throughout history. Yep, that should have been a call, or yep,
that wasn't a catch.
You know what I mean? So if they missed it and he stepped out of bounds, they got a lucky break and he missed it. You know what I mean? So it's not like it was a call.
And they act like
they got wrong. They just missed it.
And that wasn't the first time in the tournament. If you guys have been watching any of the highlights or anything like that, they've been talking about not
bad
shiesty
officiating
refereeing, but just bad officiating overall in the tournament. So this is one a freak accident. People are talking oh, Duke, it was rigged for them to win. But nah, dude, if anything, I thought it was going to be Wisconsin. Rigged to win. It came out last second, so you can't even pretend it wasn't Wisconsin was up 40-1. And all these bad calls came through, and then Duke came through with the win. It was tied neck and neck the entire game. It was tied at the half, 31-31, and then it wasn't until the last 2-3 minutes that those two calls helped turn it around for sure. But it's not like Duke played a bad game and the call's the only thing that won it. So a lot of people are saying that that's what it was. But go back, watch the game, learn your stuff, and you could see that wasn't just those calls.
You could tell he is pretty mad.
I do. I get shaky, man. I get real mad when people
But every game has the calls, so don't even take it personally, because anybody who's a Duke hater, they're going to say that it was the calls. But it wasn't, and it's Coach K. This isn't some fluke team.
Exactly.
This is Duke. This is 5 national championships.
All under Coach K.
To bat your eyes at. You know what I'm saying? It's Duke. If this was some Cinderella
This was
team,
Ball State
and they
coming
wanted
through.
Ball State to win the national championship. You'd be
Against
like,
a team
wow,
like Wisconsin,
exactly.
then you'd be like, what the heck?
That was rigged. But like, it's Duke. Wisconsin's good, but it's Duke.
And it was, all right, my favorite storyline of the night was the Jahlil Okafor versus the Frank Kaminsky all game long.
Yeah.
Okafor had like 5 fouls before the end of the game, and
Yeah,
he was
they-
close to fouling out, and that's why he was limited to only 10 points in the game, because they kept pulling him out.
They did a
for
really
5,
good
6
job.
minutes here.
Wisconsin had a really good plan
It was
to
just
get those
so
fouls
good.
on him.
And then watching it, I put out a status on my Facebook. I was like, this is the battle
Matchup,
of the century, and it will be in the future. Kind of like when you watch Carmelo and James with like their rookie seasons, you're like, okay, this is going to be the guys, coming into the NBA. Like, this is the next group.
Yeah.
They're going to battle their whole careers. Like, oh, who's better, this and this, and obviously that took a direction. And we'll see what happens with Kaminsky and Okafor. But if they both get into the draft, I think they'll both have outstanding NBA careers, and they'll be like playing each other all day, and that's going to be like the big rivalry.
Yeah. And it's cool, too, especially when things translate over to the NBA from, college basketball. You think of, like, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. They had those rivalries in college, and then you bring it to the pros, and they were still on that high level of championship teams. So it's pretty exciting. We'll see where it goes. But
yeah,
if you guys missed it, Duke is your men's basketball national champion.
And
so
I'm very excited about it. Kyle owes me $5, which I'll
$5.
gladly take and go buy something for the set with.
Yeah.
I'll buy
Side
the little
note,
picture.
Women's college basketball, Connecticut is going for the 3rd straight
Oh my God,
women's
that's insane.
basketball championship. So
it is.
watch
Shout out
out
to
for that.
Connecticut. Watch that game. It's gonna be insane, dude. I love the coach behind Connecticut there. I love the program at Connecticut. Even in men's, they won last year. Real good school, dude.
Yeah.
I love them.
So speaking of females and sports, after the break, we're going to talk about the first NFL female official.
Yeah, it's gonna be real exciting. So for the break, we want to do is plug our Twitters, our Facebook, our SoundCloud. Everything's at Colin Craig. Go ahead and check out everything. Like, subscribe, share the page. We appreciate it all. Lots of love and lots of, not negativity, but a lot of good feedback of things we need to fix, change, and adjust for the show. We take that all into consideration when we make the shows these every week. We love it. Love you guys. Thanks for watching.
Getting high rate views on YouTube. We just need some more feedback. Let us know what you guys think, good or bad.
I think we're 250 views away from the 1,000 view mark, so that's really exciting.
Yeah, that's
considering
really
we're
good.
only 4 episodes deep,
Yeah.
we've grown a lot as a show. I mean, me and Kyle
That's
just
a lot.
even the
Thanks
preparation.
to you guys letting us know.
You look at the first show, go back and watch that first episode. Maybe I'll put like a split screen in here, the first one and the second one, or maybe I'll put the first episode right here. You can click on it right there. And just watch the differences. You'll see how much we've grown. And go look at some of the comments that you guys have left, and you'll see that we actually do take what you guys say into consideration, and we want to make this show the best show we can.
We want to get you guys involved. We want to get some people on the show if you're interested when we have certain topics that, you guys love to talk about. So, message one of us or
comment below. If
comment
you guys
below,
just
and
put your
then
names
we'll
down
try
below.
and
We
get you
got a
guys
few
in
people
here.
lined up and ready to come in.
Yeah.
So definitely, and we're local guys, so if you guys want to come by, just let us know. So after that, Kyle, we'll jump right back into the first NFL official who is a female. This was just announced. Her name is Sarah Thomas. Thomas worked for Conference USA in 2007. She was the first woman official to officiate a bowl game in 2009 in NCAA. She's decorated. She's a real decorated referee. I'm surprised it took this long.
Yeah. Aaron Wilson of the Baltimore Sun broke the news. Yeah. Why did it take this long? You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of people will say, like, do you think they'll start splitting it, like 50-50, women officials, men's officials? I don't know. But, I mean, why did it take this long? I have no problem with it. I don't, referees don't get ran into if you're trying to think of, like, a physical thing. Like, and
even that's
refs
sexist.
get ran into all the time. We don't want to knock down the women if the men are getting hit. But, like, I can't remember last time I saw a referee get hit.
No, every once in a
while.
while.
It doesn't happen.
No more than a photographer on the side of the field.
Exactly.
And,
So if they know the game, let them referee it,
Now, I think if they do get more of a predominant, well, not predominant, but if they do get more women numbers into the NFL, I think it should be distributed as an even thing. And then you want what I think is some women in the review boxes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, as far as the replays go, the replays?
Sexist even talking about it. Like, why does it make a difference? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I think you should put them up there because it's like, it's just having a different eye, a different prospect of opinion, and I think it make a big, not a big difference, but it would just smooth things out a little bit.
I don't even think it's like, a woman or a man, like, who saw the play differently, because if you know football, you're going to see the play the same. Yeah. It's not even like a man-woman thing. It's not even a thing. Like, this shouldn't even be a thing.
But I think they should just do it strictly for, like, gender equality.
Exactly.
If she knows the game just as well as anybody else, then, like, I bet my life Sarah Thomas
it's a really
knows
good
the game
landmark.
better than I do.
Yeah, it's a really good landmark. Congratulations to Sarah Thomas. But I'm sorry you weren't a referee sooner.
Yeah, you should have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. And
We'll see
then
how it goes.
on another note, I mean, you had Lauren Holtkamp. She was the first NBA female referee this season. I don't know if you remember her. She had those. Chris Paul made some comments about her in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, some
They
people were
weren't too
trying
bad,
to mistake it for being sexist comments.
Yeah.
And
I read the
think
comments. I don't think it was. He said
yeah.
something about, like, oh, I just don't know if she's cut out for this. And I think that's not even, like, a female or male
I'm
thing.
hoping it wasn't a female or male thing. I mean, when he said maybe she's not cut out for this, you know, you could see why, like, someone who is on...
Someone who would... I mean, the press take everything and roll with it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they blow it out of proportion multiple times, and, you know, it's known to happen. So maybe that's what they're doing, and maybe it wasn't as big of a story as they made it seem.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you guys know Chris Paul if you've watched him and you see his interviews.
He's a good guy,
humble dude.
yeah.
Yeah. You know, he wouldn't make a sexist comment like that. But
So-
shout out to Lauren Holtkamp because, you know, she kind of had the first step in the door with this whole thing, and now you got Sarah Thomas making the same steps in the same direction. I hope to see it. Hope to see female umps in baseball. I don't know about women want to. I mean, whatever they want to do, they can do.
Yeah, and especially from like a PR standpoint, having female referees in any sport is going to bring in female audience. Because there are those women out there who are like, oh, you guys don't have females involved, then I'm not going to watch your product. Equality, and that's great.
Yeah.
Do you? So now they got to, you know,
a little bit of incentive.
So
and it's the same thing too. Growing up, now you have little girls watching, but like, oh, look at her! I want to be a referee, and that just inspires a lot more people to do a lot more things, get involved in the games in a different way. You know, football in the youth is becoming a lot more sketchy, and a lot of parents aren't wanting their kids to go play. But you know, you start putting some press on these referees, and that's a career, and you can make a life out of that. And if you love the game of football, then that's something cool to do. And then having a female do it is opening that door to both, you know, little boys and little girls, and they can, you know, it opens their eyes a little bit more.
Yeah, and just to mention, I saw it last night. There's actually a TV show, I think on Nickelodeon, that's about a girl, I think in middle school, who's actually a part of the football
boys
team.
Football team, yeah.
So you got your daughter watching that show, and she's like, "Daddy, Mommy, what's football?" And then turn around and see Sarah Thomas.
Sunday, and then
and I think it's just a fantastic
positive
thing
all around. There's no negatives to this at all. I mean, I haven't read anything online. I didn't look too far into it
to see what people are saying.
Yeah, but I mean, all love to her. That's amazing. I hope to see her a lot. And from what I've heard is, so she's gonna be known as a floater in the NFL. So she'll be like, let's say,
if you guys don't know, referees have
teams. Basically.
Teams. I guess we could call them teams. They'll have a head referee and then the side referees.
The men in the booth.
They always do the same games together.
Because it's like you want that chemistry.
Yeah,
just
you
like
want
a regular team.
You want to have good referee chemistry.
But let's say we're a team. Kyle calls out tomorrow. Sarah Thomas will come in and fill in for Kyle that game.
She's a floater.
Or, you know, it's called being a floater. So she'll be a floater as well as the 3 new hires that the NFL has hired on the officiating teams this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see how long it takes for her to get put onto a official camp. And,
you
know, that'd be really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing and reading more about her as the season goes along.
Yeah. I think it's great. So
yeah, I think it's epic.
It's fantastic.
And then PG-13.
Paul
NBA
George.
talk real quick. Paul George made his comeback this weekend against the Miami Heat. He had a really good game. Came in, hit his first bucket. It was so pretty.
Yeah.
He missed an
it was
easy
beautiful.
layup right after that.
If you guys didn't know, Paul
cool.
George in the Olympics
snapped his leg in half.
Completely snapped his leg. It was absolutely terrible.
That disgusted me, man. Go watch that.
It was very bad. So he finally made his comeback.
I thought it was a real good game. He only played like 15 minutes, and then that's what you need to do. Just like when Derrick Rose came back, you don't throw him in there for 48 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Take his time. Let him get back. Pacers out of the playoffs? Pacers don't got a chance to win a championship at all. So let him come back, let him play whatever you can play, whatever's left of their season.
But he's definitely an MVP caliber.
Next season.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
that's just a boost to their team. And then next year,
I got him as like my top 3 MVP race next year.
Comeback. I could see him being comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
You know, because after someone has an injury,
you considered that because he's playing in a regular season game this year? Or how's that work?
I'm not sure.
Look into that.
That's a good question. But, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even just as like a personal.
I think we have like 9 games left.
Yeah,
I thought I saw something online.
From whatever
like
time
9
you're watching
games
the video.
left.
Yeah,
you know, so him playing 9 games,
he's nothing
he
but a
comes
warm-up.
back next year and has like MVP performance. If he doesn't win MVP, then I'm sure he could win comeback player of the year.
Yeah, definitely. And
so
I expect
I don't know what the exact rules of that are, but
expect a lot from him and the Pacers. As good as they were, making all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, the year before, I love it. I like the Pacers. It gives some diversity here in the East. I mean, you have such a bad division.
Yeah, it just brings back another good player.
Paul George, and then you put a healthy Paul George on the court, and he'll attract more players. Obviously, they lost Danny Granger, who was on their team when they were doing so well, and a few other key parts. So now that he's healthy and he's back, get a decent draft, come back next year, I don't see a reason why they're not contenders for the NBA title.
And right now they're tied for Miami in the 8th spot.
Okay.
Or they will be potentially. Indianapolis is 33-43 without him this year. And George averaged 21.7 points and 6.8 rebounds last year.
Yeah.
So you can see what a difference maker he is.
And what he'll do to the team next year.
Yeah. And if you guys watch a previous show when we were talking about MVP races and we had that laundry list of injuries of potential MVPs,
he was definitely on
that list.
Top of the list.
Exactly.
Right next to like a Derrick Rose, who is expected to come back this week whenever you happen to be watching this video. So all our Chicago fans out there, Derrick Rose is coming back. We got our spot locked in the playoffs, and he'll be back definitely for the first round. Hopefully he can get a game in sooner just to like break that rust off after he was down for 6 weeks. I mean, it's no surprise. They called the injury for 4 to 6 weeks for Derrick Rose, and it was definitely the 6 weeks. Tom Thibodeau was reported yesterday to say he'll come back when he's ready, basically. To sum it up in fewer words, that's always what he says when it comes to Derrick Rose and his injuries. But, I mean, I'm excited. It sucks seeing so many good players down and out this year.
Yeah.
Melo Anthony, Derrick Rose, and Paul George. But I'm glad to have him back, and that's what's going to make the next season so damn exciting. And even the playoff run this year. Hopefully, if Derrick Rose and Paul George can stay healthy and, play while they can. But to close the show, MLB, if you guys can't tell from our nice
Major
little
League
set
Baseball
design, had their opening week this week, opening night, opening day, opening week, whatever you want to
Cubs
call it.
played Sunday night, and the
they
White
lost.
Sox played yesterday.
Cubs lost 3-0. Sox lost 9-1.
So if you guys don't know, the Cubs and the Sox are both mathematically eliminated from next year's championship already. One game in, already eliminated.
Yeah, no, I didn't see anything I liked. Well, no, I saw one thing, and that's the number 1 in the Sox score. Jose Abreu, who was last year's AL Rookie of the Year, hit a nice, clean homer in the 7th inning of the Sox game. Crushed the living heck out of the ball.
Yeah.
But that's about it. That's the only positive I can give you.
I mean, Samardzija, he's coming from the Cubs. We know that him as a pitcher, he needs run support, so 1 run's not going to do it.
But giving up as many as he did before they took him out of the game, I think it was 5 or 6 runs that he gave up.
The Cubs, we're Sox fans, but the Cubs only had like 4 or 5 hits.
Which is
that's not going to get it done.
And there was on
against
national
St.
TV
Louis
with like everybody in the world sitting here like Cubs are going to win the World Series.
Yeah.
And then the first game opening night, obviously they got 161 more games of these things to go through, but it's not looking good so far. And that, considering that those were our 2 best pitchers as the Cubs and as the Sox, to go out and lose like that the way they did, it's not impressed me at all. It gives me. I had so many good feelings coming into this year with baseball and everything like that, and now it's just like it was a complete deflation. And that's like
it is also the reigning AL champions, the Kansas City Royals, but you still want to see a little bit more. Some people have us predicted as being the AL wild card.
Yeah.
Because the Royals probably will win the AL Central.
Yeah.
So I mean the hopes are high to get to the playoffs. It's 1 game, so let's not cry about it. But it's still. First impressions are everything.
Nothing to be excited about.
Yeah, exactly. Just another year of Chicago baseball. So, I mean, Cubs fans out there, a couple hundred more years, maybe you'll win one. White Sox, we'll see how it goes. But first games for both teams.
Our game of the week this week for the show, which is a new segment that we're going to be doing all the time
Game
now,
of the week
is Red Sox-Yankees, which is this Saturday. It's going to be a very exciting game. Actually, I think they play Friday and Saturday. So check that game out. It's definitely going to be real exciting. If you guys don't know the rivalry behind the Yankees and Red Sox, you've been living under a rock for the past 150 years.
ESPN has a new website. They just redid 20-year anniversary of ESPN.com, and they would put on a bunch of top 20 lists. And one of the top 20 moments of the last 20 years in sports was the Red Sox coming back down 3-0 against the
2004?
Yankees. Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was one of the top 20 moments. So, I mean, if you guys don't watch baseball, if you don't know about the rivalry,
read about it. Watch the game this Saturday.
Amazing.
It
Absolutely
is. It's
amazing. So, that's the game of the week.
Jinx.
Boston
no, I'm just kidding.
Against the Yankees.
And that is it for tonight, guys. Today, tomorrow, whenever you're watching this show. That's it for us. It has been the Kyle and Craig Show.
My name is Kyle.
My name is Craig. Thanks for watching.